Atheists will argue, like the four horsemen of new atheism will argue that an atheist doesn't need God to be moral. Now, um, if these atheists actually had integrity, humility, generosity, and courage, and they'd acknowledge the fact that their own moral compasses were calibrated by the culture they grew up in. If any one of the four horsemen of new atheism grew up in Africa or the jungles of the Amazon or Asia or anywhere else in the world, they would not feel the same repugnance toward enslaving and committing genocide against people who's just because you want to take their land. That's pretty much acceptable in among all these other cultures, and it's really just the culture that these new atheists grew up in that instilled them with their values. So the atheists themselves are contaminated specimens. They can't use themselves as an example. Christopher Hitchens can't say, "I don't need God to be moral," because Christopher Hitchens' morality was informed by the Christian culture he grew up in. So those atheists themselves, being contaminated samples, can't use themselves as examples of people who don't need God to be moral. If you actually want to find out if humanity needs God to be moral, you have to find an example of humanity that doesn't have any influence from God whatsoever. And the only people you can do that with are the people who existed before religion. Now, according to the experts, religion didn't emerge. They didn't believe religion emerged until after the Neolithic Revolution, until they discovered Göbekli Tepe. After they discovered Göbekli Tepe, they pushed the emergence of religion back to about 12,000 years ago, right at the beginning of the Neolithic Revolution. So you can pretty much separate irreligious man and religious man with the Neolithic and Paleolithic Revolution. Now, I went and Googled the homicide rate among Paleolithic men. Then I found an article that said that forensic pathologists and anthropologists and experts who examined the remains of Paleolithic man found that that anywhere from 2% to 40% of the remains showed evidence of dying by homicide. Now, if we go by the lowest estimate, 2%, then we want to compare that to the murder capital of the world today, which is Tijuana, Mexico, and I think their murder rate is somewhere between 140 and 150 per 100,000. A homicide rate of 2% is 2,000 per 100,000. So clearly, your chances of being killed were about 7 times less. You're about 7 times safer in the murder capital of the world today than you would be anywhere during Paleolithic times, during the Paleolithic era, and that's by the lowest estimates. So clearly, there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that man does not need religion or does not need God in order to be moral. Mankind existed for at least 88,000 years before the emergence of religion, and they failed to be moral. So even if it is theoretically possible for mankind to be moral without God, they clearly aren't. And when you look at these new atheists who are claiming that they can be moral without God, who are not taking into consideration the fact that they are themselves contaminated specimens, it demonstrates that they themselves are not demonstrating integrity, humility, generosity, or courage. So the atheists themselves who claim that they can be moral are not, and Paleolithic man before religion was not moral. And on top of that, if you go on Facebook and you look at a Christian page that doesn't allow atheists and an atheist page that doesn't allow Christians, what you'll find is that the Christian page, these people are celebrating this thing they hold sacred, and they've banned atheists because they just don't want anybody crapping on this thing that they hold sacred. But if you look at an atheist page that doesn't allow Christians, their whole page is dedicated to crapping on things that other people hold sacred, and they actually don't hold anything sacred, and they're not promoting anything. All they're doing is trying to destroy what other people promote. And you can see on if you look at these pages, you can see clearly that atheist communities insofar as they exist, none of them anywhere actually exhibit morality, despite the claim that they can. There's no reason, atheists always talk about evidence. There is no evidence. There is no evidence to believe that humanity can be moral without God, and atheists themselves are the best evidence that humanity cannot be moral without God. Please like, subscribe, and like and subscribe so that maybe I can get enough views and enough attention so that maybe I can debate one of your atheist heroes, and he can destroy me and humble me. If you're an atheist, like and subscribe so that one of your atheist heroes can notice me and destroy me. And if you agree with me, like and subscribe so that these atheist heroes can I can get their attention, and then I can end this nonsense. I've been arguing with atheists online for years. I know what I'm talking about. Thank you. Hit like and subscribe, and comment. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Tell me whatever you want to tell me. Thank you.